Alright, now we're going to take a look at how to create a panoramic photograph if you don't have the capability or the desire to go through the trouble of actually shooting a panoramic photograph. For instance, if you don't feel like going out and shooting a big gradual scene where you have to overlap and adjust for exposure and all that kind of stuff, there's a very simple way to get the same look and feel of a panoramic photograph simply by utilizing a little creative cropping. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close up this panorama that we have here. I'm going to say don't save that for now, and I'm going to jump back into the Adobe Bridge and I'm going to select photopano.jpg. And once we get this photograph open inside of here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the crop tool first of all, and then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to make a selection across this image that would be in the same aspect ratio as a panoramic photograph. So you want it to be really long and not very tall. And what we're going to do here is we're going to utilize this to create our own panoramic photo. So what you need to do now is you need to position this wherever you feel like you need the most emphasis. For instance, if you want to show more of the sky in this photograph as opposed to more of the field, then just position this to where you show only a little bit of the field and much more of the sky. On the other hand, if you want to go ahead and show a lot of the field and not so much of the sky, you could go ahead and crop it down here as well. It's basically a personal preference, and this is really an interesting way to create these type of images simply because of the fact that you get this creative control over where you place this crop. So, for instance, in this photograph, I feel like the crop needs to be a little bit higher to include more of the sky simply because the sky in this particular photograph is the more interesting portion of the image. So what you need to determine is what portion of your image is going to be the most interesting and then put the emphasis on that image. Now when you're ready to turn this into your panoramic photograph, go ahead then and hit the Enter key on your keyboard, and you see there you've cropped this into a nice fake panoramic photograph. And what you can do now is also add that nice little border effect that I taught you earlier, and that's simply by coming up here to the image menu, choosing canvas size, and then what we're going to do is we're going to switch this to % again. Make sure that the relative checkbox is checked. I'm going to add 10% to the width, and I'll add 10% to the height this time. Go ahead then and we'll make sure that the background color is set to black in this case. Go ahead and hit that, and there we have a nice mounted panoramic photograph created from a photograph that was before a little bit boring.